I'm joined now by Mike Smith, softball coach for Ole Miss. Mike, how are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks. I appreciate it. It's been a crazy summer so far. We've only been out recruiting a couple of weeks, and it's been tough not being at home, but it's the grind of recruiting. We got to get out, got to get better each and every day.
Absolutely. I want to talk about that recruiting here in a little bit, but first, let's go back to this season. The regional at home, Louisiana Lafayette. You guys beat a very good team and a very good pitcher twice in one day. Now you've won a regional at home two times in 3 years. What has that meant for the program when you talk about recruiting and bringing talent back in?
Well, just being able to be in front of Rebel Nation is a huge part of, the success. Anytime you get a chance to host a regional, I think that gives you a little leg up on that postseason piece. But it's been really good. Nationally, those games are televised all the time. So the brand of Ole Miss is out there from a softball standpoint. It was real big in 2017, 2019. This season, really, we kind of just really catapulted ourselves a little bit higher from the recruiting game. Before we were in talks with certain recruits, and now I feel like those kids are wanting to come on campus now. Those top kids, trying to get those 5-star kids, from softball every day. And I just think being on that national level, having a shot at getting to the College World Series is a big piece of the recruiting game and where it goes from here.
Let's talk about those two super regional games in Arizona a little bit. Looks like both of them kind of got away from you in the middle innings, but y'all competed early in those games. What did you think of how you guys played there?
I thought we didn't do well defensively. I think we kind of threw the ball around a little bit, kind of not prototypical Ole Miss softball. I don't know if it was the big moment that kind of got to us a little bit. But anytime you're playing at that level, at that time of year, you got to have every facet of the game if you want to have a shot at being one of those final 8 teams and getting to the College World Series. So I think if we would have took care of the ball a little bit better, I think we'd have had a better shot at winning those games. And, you got to tip your cap to Arizona in the way that they played. And, of course, anytime you get to play in front of your home crowd, I think that's a huge benefit. And then they were playing in front of their new stadium. So it was really loud. It was energetic. The excitement was there. It was a fun atmosphere, and that's something that I want for our players and our fans here in the future.
You're looking for a pitching coach right now. Is that correct?
We are. We're in some. We're in kind of towards the end stages of it. We're actually going to be bringing a couple of candidates on campus here in the next week, and so we're real excited about where we're at right now. But it's tough, Ashley. She went on to a place where, she went on to the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. It's a great situation for her, checked a lot of her boxes, gets to start her head coaching career. And I couldn't be happier for her. It seems like we're getting these young coaches in here and they're leaving us, but either that just tells you that we're having success here. And I feel like that we're doing a really good job of trying to, elevate the future coaches.
So what would you like to see in your ideal pitching coach candidate?
I think we need somebody to continue on the direction that both Tara Mowat and Ashley Chastain have done, from a developmental piece. We may be looking for a seasoned veteran, somebody that gives us a little bit more experience from a pitching coach standpoint, kind of does a lot of the developmental piece, but also has been able to call a lot of games. A couple of one of our candidates has some head coaching experience, so we're excited about that. And then we've got another young one that's in there. And then, of course, Coach Reeves is another candidate that's in. She's our volunteer this year. So we've got some pretty good candidates. We're excited about where it's at. But I just want someone that's going to help elevate us to another level. And it's not just that we're missing a pitching coach. I think there's some other areas we need to do. I thought, we swung the bats better. Of course, we're running and moving people around. And we just need to play at every facet for us to have a shot at getting to the College World Series.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Obviously, y'all won the SEC tournament in 2017. Really kind of jumped onto the radar for a lot of people then. And in 2018, you go on the road for a regional, and then you're back at home this season. What do you have to do in 2020 to kind of keep the consistency of hosting a regional, getting to the Super, and then taking that step to Oklahoma City that you talk about?
Yeah, I think you said it best. It's the word consistency. Anytime you're playing in the tough SEC as well as playing a lot of those good mid majors, you have to play consistent softball. You have to take care of the ball. You have to swing the bats well. You got to get good pitching. You got to keep those errors down to a minimum. So I think those are the big keys for us. If you want to be able to host, you got to be able to, be in the upper echelon of the SEC. We did a really good job this year of winning almost every series. And the committee took notice of that. So that was a big key. Of course, our non-conference schedule was really tough. I think we had one of the top 5-10 in the country. So that's a big piece too. So I think the consistency is a piece. You got to take care of the ball. You got to do the little things. And I think once we continue to do that year in and year out, I think you're going to see us continue to have that shot at getting to the College World Series. That's the next step in our process. And people don't realize we're still a really young team. This class will really be the first big recruiting class that we've got a chance to spend a lot of time with. So I'm excited about where we're at and the future of our program.
Well, I know obviously you can't talk about specific recruits before they sign, but tell us a little bit about this class, help people understand, the talent you're bringing in, and how do you go about replacing a player as dynamic as Kylan Becker?
Well, I don't know if you can ever replace a Kylan Becker. You just have to find somebody that's going to hopefully give you a lot of those areas that she was so successful in. Kylan Becker is one of those type of players that doesn't come around very often. And we're thankful that she's still going to be around the program. She's going to be able to give off some of her leadership. She's going to stay on as a student assistant for us. So we're excited that a lot of what she brought to the table will rub off on a lot of our young players and even our current players that are in here. But I'm excited about our class coming in. In the outfield, we've got Naomi Jones, who is, one of the top outfielders in this 2020 class. She's from Southern California, plays on one of the top travel ball programs out there in the Corona Angels, Marty Tyson. Reagan Cheyenne plays with the SoCal Choppers. She's an outfielder, plays for Norco High School. They're the #1 high school program in the country. So those are 2 outfielders that we're bringing in to kind of try to find someone to replace Kylan Becker. Paige Smith, she's a third baseman, can probably play a little bit of second base. She's probably one of the top 10 players in the nation in this 20 class, probably one of the top 2 or 3 corners in this class. Again, comes from Norco High School, again, the #1 high school program in the country. And she was teammates, both her and Reagan were teammates of Michaela Ali, our shortstop from this year. So those 3 are going to be kind of getting back together and playing together, so which is going to be nice. Kinsey Coleman from Texas. She's a utility player, has some shortstop experience as well as gives us some outfield. She has a really, really strong arm. And then Taylor Bachmeyer, a pitcher out of Texas too. She's a small kid, kind of built like a Caitlin Lee size, but she's throwing 63 to 65 with a really good changeup, moves the ball in and out, up and down. So we're really excited about our class that's coming in. They're a good bunch. I think they're bringing a lot to the table. And then the last one is Mackenzie Barbara. Mackenzie is a big power hitter out of Southern California also. She actually now plays with the Texas Blaze organization because she's playing with some current as well as some future commits. And her dad and I played professional baseball together, so that was our connection. And she's built. She's going to be a catcher, first baseman for us, big power hitting lefty that we haven't had. So it's going to be nice to be able to add that to the table.
Well, and let's talk about adding to the table. What would you like to see, or how would you like to see the 2020 team look different, or would you in any areas?
Yeah, I'd love to see us hit for a little bit more power, maybe a little bit more consistency. We were middle towards the bottom of the conference offensively. We take pride in our defense and felt like we were middle towards the bottom defensively, and we just didn't take care of the ball very well. And I think a lot of that had to do with us just being very young in the infield. With Abby Latham at first base and Jessica Puck at second, even though they were sophomores. Yet this last year was their first year being everyday players. So really they're freshmen playing on that right side of the infield. And then, of course, Michaela was a true freshman. And then Amanda was really our only veteran infielder at third base. So we just need to be better defensively. I thought our outfield did a really good job. All 3 outfielders had some postseason awards. So, we just need to do a better job in the infield. Autumn Gillespie's Autumn Gillespie, and she has one of the best arms in the country behind the plate. And then Molly Jacobson's coming back, which, she had a great year this year. Ava Tillman's coming back. And we had a young pitcher in Savannah Dietrich who, really has a power arm similar to Brittany Finney. We're hoping that she replaces the Brittany Finney. Just a younger, she'll be a sophomore, didn't have a lot of innings. But if she comes back in the shape that we think she's going to come back in with a drive, I think she's going to be similar to what Brittany Finney did for us, and we'll have her for 3 years. So we're excited about the future of our program and where we're at. And then we've got a great, a 20 class that'll be coming in also.
Tell me a little bit about the SEC, Mike. Obviously, it's been really hard to climb the ladder in that conference. You guys have been able to go up quite a few rungs, but with a conference that's getting all of its members in the NCAA tournament, do you see it weakening any? Do you see the SEC becoming any less competitive in the seasons ahead?
No, I mean, these coaches in this conference are competitors. They're the best, or some of the best coaches in the country. And we love to compete against each other. So, I think all our philosophies are the same. We're going to recruit as good as, if not better. So if we're doing our part as coaches, I think we're just going to continue to get better. I think you're going to continue to see all 13 teams getting into the postseason, as long as we're, staying consistent in what we're doing, playing games. But this conference is tough when you've got the best 200 players in the country playing and being prepared by, 13 of the best coaches in the country playing in the best stadiums in the country. Those are recipes for success. And I think our conference is going to continue to that. We are moving up in the rungs. People don't realize, even though we finished 5th this year, we were a half a game out of being the number 2 seed in the SEC tournament and finishing in 2nd. And, we lost that game at South Carolina where we had the 2-0 lead, and we win that ball game. We finished that, and we're the number 2 seed in the tournament, and we finished 2nd in the SEC. So that half a game sent us from 2nd to 5th. So that's where our program's at right now. And we feel like we are a top 5 program in the SEC, and, we're a top 25, top 15 program in the nation.
So was that your decision to go ahead and just not play the end of that South Carolina game on the road?
Yeah, that wasn't my decision. That was something, we couldn't handle the rain, and decisions were made. But it is what it is, and we rolled with what happened. And we had our opportunities to do our part at Georgia, and things didn't work our way. But I was just thankful of the way that our girls played this season. They played with a passion, with a fire. They were resilient. This team loved to be around each other, and they're going to continue on that journey.
Do you think that the popularity of softball in the conference, is there any talk about Vanderbilt adding a team and rounding this out to 14 teams?
No, I've never heard Vanderbilt adding a team. I think they got a couple of things that kind of hinder them. There's really not a lot of places around the city of Nashville to build a softball stadium. They'd be scary if they did, because they'd probably be building a brand new stadium, which may be better than what most of the conference has now. We know what their baseball program does, so we're thankful right now that Vanderbilt doesn't have a team. But we're already 13 strong, and we're going to continue that way. Every team is tough, and the teams that finish at the top one year are finishing middle towards the bottom of the next, and that's part of the recruiting game, and that just fuels the fire and the passion each and every year to get better. And I'm sure those teams that finished at the bottom are going to do their best this summer to recruit, to prepare their players to be ready for this next season.